So we're going to talk about skill and knowledge a bit. But before that, the reason why people don't get success is usually never because of lack of knowledge. Usually it is never because of lack of knowledge. It's usually because of mindset. Because knowledge is all around us. Give me one thing that you cannot find knowledge on how to do. Is there anything you can think of that you cannot find how to do it? I'm not saying you don't know how to do it, right? I'm saying you cannot find the right way or how to do it. Is there anything you can think of? Is there anything that you cannot find how to do? Is there anything? You sure? Do you understand my question, or the food was too heavy? So usually there is nothing that you cannot find in today's world. In today's world, there is usually nothing that you cannot find how to do. Knowledge is in abundance today. Free knowledge. You don't even have to pay for it. Alright? So it is never because of lack of knowledge, it is because of mindset. So like what we discussed earlier, when you have a limiting belief, it prevents you from looking for solutions. If you look for solutions, you will find solutions. But having a closed mindset and having a limiting belief prevents you from looking for solutions. Alright? Now, after you get a solution, after you get knowledge, after you get ideas, after you find solutions, then what decides your success is how fast you can turn the knowledge into action. A lot of people become very motivated and happy after they find the knowledge. Right? You come to a training, and in the training you get a lot of ideas and a lot of solutions, and you are very happy. But only a small percentage of people take this idea and convert into action. Okay? So, there was a famous business person, I forgot the name, but a very, very successful business person. Okay? I don't know if it was Jeff Bezos or somebody else who said that your success depends on the speed of converting your ideas into actions. Alright? The speed with which you convert your ideas into actions. So today you will get a lot of ideas. And I'm sure when you go for other trainings also, you get a lot of ideas. You write notes, right? When you like an idea, when you find, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good way of doing it. And you write it down. And if you've been in the business for 1 or 2 years, then you already have lots of pages of notes. Yes or no? How many of them have you actually converted into action? Repeated, regular action. Very less. Most of us, very less. Right? So, it's not the lack of knowledge, it's not the lack of ideas. It's a mindset issue. Okay? Because even after you find a solution, for you to put it into practice, you need to have a mindset, an action-oriented mindset. You understand? Action-oriented mindset. So that is the reason why a lot of people, a lot of successful people say 90% or more of our success depends on our mindset. All these things are related to it. Alright? So after you find a solution, you're going to find a lot of ideas and solutions today, but on the paper, it is not going to give you results. So you can have 100 ideas written down on a paper, which will give you nothing. You convert one of that into action, it will give you a lot of results. You convert two of them into actions, even more results. Three, even better. Alright, but even one, if you just focus on one idea converted into an action after every training, just one, your business will change dramatically in just a few months. Because most of us go for trainings regularly, isn't it? Do you attend trainings? Yeah, I'm sure you attend trainings. Maybe at least once a month you go for some training. So, if you are able to take one idea from a training and implement it, in 1 year you would have implemented at least 10 or 12 ideas, and your business would have changed tremendously. Alright? See, this concept of compounding, the concept of compounding, what our business is based on, right? It's not only in the finance. See, compounding also works with action. So you put one action into a habit. After a few months, you put another action into a habit. Now, because of the first action, you're getting some results. With the second idea put into action, now your results start compounding. You put a third idea into an action, your results will not be 1 plus 1 plus 1. It will be a compounding result. Alright? So, some of the successful people, they understand the power of compounding and they use that power of compounding to their benefit. And the others don't. So compounding is not only for the 2 becoming 4, becoming 8. Compounding works in all aspects. It's up to us whether we understand it and put it into practice. Alright? So, what are some of the skills or knowledge required for us to make this happen, the 7-day activation? What do you think? What skill do you need? You can just sit and shout out. What skills do you need to make the 7 days activation work for you?
Ability to do a good invitation.
Okay, what are they? Yes, you can say.
Ability to do a proper invitation.
So, effective invitation. What else? So let us say your 5 core activities, right? The basic activities: invitation, presentation, closing, right? You need to, so invitation, presentation, closing. Okay. What else?
Proper activation meeting.
Yeah, so we are discussing about activation. So let us break it down into what skills you need to make the activation happen. What's that? Yeah, so let's break it down. Okay, so the skill to influence people. Alright, what else?
Proper objection handling.
Okay, effective objection handling. Okay, what else? Skills/knowledge. What else?
Industrial experience.
What trainings? Okay, let's get more specific. What else? Huh? Build relationship. So your skill in building relationship. Communication skill. In what aspect? Build relationship in what aspect? With the new BA. Okay. So ability to build relationship with new BA, okay? So communication skill in what aspect? Right, but ability to communicate what? Okay, so ability to communicate about the power of the business. Okay.
Identify the correct prospectus.
Alright, very good. Identify the most suitable prospects for the new BA. Ability to what? To change negative mindset. Alright? What else? Ability to motivate. So we can add it here. Skill to influence people, motivate. Alright, what else? You can write this down. I hope you are writing it down. Anything else?
Industrial knowledge.
Alright, knowledge about the industry. Very good.
Effective five activities.
So knowledge about the industry. Okay. Anything else? Huh? Yeah, we have it here. Effective invitation, presentation, closing. So skill to influence people, motivate people, effective objection handling, ability to build relationship with the new BA, ability to communicate about the power of our business, identify the most suitable prospects for the new BA, ability to change negative mindset, knowledge about the industry. Okay. Ability to identify the people in your team who can duplicate. Okay. So identify from the team. Okay, anything else? All right, leadership qualities. Okay. Anything else?
Ability to prepare the DA for rejections.
What is it?
Ability to prepare the new DA for rejections.
Okay, ability to prepare the new BA to face rejections. Okay, anything else? What is it? Knowledge sharing with successful people. I don't understand. Share knowledge. What is it? Ability to find successful methods from other people. All right? Okay. Alright, so ability to find better and more successful methods from other successful people. Okay? What's that?
Edification.
Edification. So, what does it mean? So, your skill in edification. Okay? So, edification skill, what else? Alright. So, ability to find solution for any problem. To find solutions for problems immediately. Alright. Anything else? That's it? Huh? Yeah, I think we got that. Okay. So that is a quality. Alright. Now, do you also realize that some of us have got some wrong knowledge on how to do these activities? You know, we're talking about knowledge on how to activate somebody, right? And we also realize that some of you have got like wrong knowledge. That's, you know, you're doing something, but that's not the right way to do it. On activation. If you want to do activation in 7 or 10 days, some of the methods what you're using is not effective. Some of the approaches what you're taking is actually preventing you from that thing happening. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, let us say you have a particular welcome training, okay, or you have a particular way of doing meeting one, or you have a particular way of getting the name list done. Sometimes that way of doing it is actually preventing you from getting the results. Okay, so let me help you understand this. Some of you look a bit confused. Usually, for any new BA, okay, for majority of the new BAs, is the first 5 or 6 presentations what they do, okay? If they don't get results from the first 5 or 6 presentations, what happens?
They can be a bit demotivated.
Now, how many of you are able to get a new BA to complete 10 presentations, 10 prospects? Like most new BAs which join with you, you are able to do 10 presentations for their prospects. How many of you can do it? Okay. So how many have you done? Let us say if you have 10 BAs signing up, 10 new BAs, okay, in the last 1 month, example. For how many of these new BAs are you able to do 10 presentations each? Out of 10?
2.
2. So that is my point. So majority of the people, you are not able to do more than. How many can you do on an average before they become negative?
6.
For most new BAs, how many prospects can you get them to bring for presentation before they become negative? Do you understand my question?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, how many? 5?
7.
7?
8.
How many? I want to hear from you. It can be different in each case. How many? 3. Okay? 5. Your experience. I'm not asking you to assume something. I'm just asking you to tell from your experience. 6. So 4, 5, 6 is something which you can make happen with almost every new BA if you try for it, right? So then, how important is identifying the right 5, 6 people? The first 5 or 6 people, how important is it that they are the right people? It's very important.
Yes. Very important.
So for some of you, the way you are identifying these people is actually preventing you from getting this result, because there is no particular way of identifying these people. It's just random. Make a list, do a little bit of qualification, and then just call people randomly. If they come, good. If they sign up, very good. So it is, you might have better chance going to the casino and throw the dice. You might have better chance. So your way of identifying these people is actually preventing you from getting the results, because there's no proper way of identifying those people. Alright? So, for many of us, lack of proper knowledge is one thing, but we also have the wrong kind of knowledge. When you are doing the business without this goal of activation in 7 days, you are doing certain activities in certain ways. Now, if you want to achieve this goal, some of those activities might not be effective. Do you understand the point?
Yes. Right.
When you do the business without that objective, you might be doing it in some particular way. But now when you have this objective of, I want to activate a new BA in 7 days, some of those old methods you might have to change, adapt, identify what is preventing you from achieving the goal. Okay? So, did you write down all these things? What we wrote here? You wrote down? Alright? So I'll give you 2 minutes. Score yourself against those skills that you have written down. So 1 means you're very bad at it, 10 means you're very good at it. Okay? So just grade yourself. 1 to 10. If you've written down these points, against each of that knowledge or skill, just grade yourself. Where do you stand? 1 means you're not at all good at that skill, and 10 means you are extremely good at that skill. Did you understand?
Yes.
Anybody not clear on what I just said? So what I mean is, so let us say you have this effective invitation. How good do you think you are? You as a person in invitation. Okay? 1 means you are not at all good, 10 means you are the best. You're very good. Okay? So skill to influence people and motivate people. Where do you stand? From 1 to 10. Okay, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 9 or 10, wherever. So for each one of this, I want you to write down the number here. Just write down the number on the left side. Alright? So I'll give you 1 minute. Done? Okay. Next, I want you to identify 3 areas from here which will affect or improve your business in a big way. Alright, which of these skills, if you really become good at it, will change your business completely. Okay? Clear or not clear? 3. Any 3. Just identify, put a circle around that. So if you think that, okay, my ability to influence people, then just put around it. Then you think that, okay, identifying the most suitable prospects, put around that one. So I want you to identify 3 only. These are the top 3 for you. Okay guys, if you don't understand, I want you to stand up and ask. Okay, if you don't understand what I'm saying or it's not clear for you, please stand up and ask. I don't know mind reading. So I cannot look at your face and tell whether you're understanding or not. Next time I come, I'll learn mind reading and come. Then you don't need to talk. I can just look at your eyes and understand. Then the next time, you also learn mind reading and come. Then I don't have to talk. We just look at each other and the whole training is finished. Somebody raise your hand, yeah.
So it's hard to say the lower part of the board.
You could not see it. That's why I was reading it out when I was writing it. So whoever cannot see it, please come closer and yeah, bring your book, come closer, write it down. No problem. I don't know whether you'll be able to read my handwriting. Hello? Yes. If you can't read it, just let me know. I'll read it for you, okay? So all of you circle the 3 most important ones for you. So I want to hear from a few of you what they are. Yeah. Tyler, can I get the mic? Ability to change negative mindset.
Identify the correct perspective.
Okay.
Ability to do FICO activity is a proper way.
Okay.
Ability to change mindset.
Okay. Ability to identify the right prospects. Ability to change the mindset
And FICO
and the
activity.
act. Okay. All right. Yes.
How to select more suitable prospect for UBA.
Okay.
The tools ability to prepare an UBA for case projection
Okay.
and ability to influence people.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Effective invitation, effective objection handling, ability to communicate about the power of the business. Ability to identify suitable prospect and ability to prepare for rejections from new BAs
Okay.
and effective FICO activities.
ප්‍රධාන කර්ම පහ ගැන දැනුවත් කරගන්න එකයි.
FICO activities,
අලුත් BA හොඳට යාළුවා අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ බිස්නස් එකට කරගෙන
identify the best people for the of the new BA.
අලුත් BA ලා ප්‍රශ්නාවලිය නොතර සිටීමට උදව් අලුත් BA ප්‍රශ්නාවලිය නොතර සිටීමට දැනුම ලබා දෙන්න. Negativity.
How to protect the BA from negativity.
All right. Let's do more.
Ability to perform FICO activities, then identify the most suitable prospects, ability to change mindset.
So in these 3, what number have you given against each of these? Your own score. Remember before this I told you to give number for each of these skills. What do you think?
For FICO activities, I have given 8.
Okay.
Identifying more suitable prospects, I have given 7. Ability to change mindset, I have given 6.
Okay. Yes.
FICO activities, first, identifying correct prospectors and ability to solve problems.
Okay. All right. Yes.
First thing is skill to influence people, ability to build relationship with new BA, ability to find solution for the problem.
Okay. All right. And how many of you have not spoken so far? Please put your hand up. People who have not spoken so far. Okay, very good. So some of you, I want you to start speaking. So from the people who have not spoken so far, some of you put your hand up, please. Right there.
Ability to find the most suitable prospector. 6. I have got 6 marks for this. And the FICO activities. I also got the 6. And skill to influence people.
Okay. 5.
Identify the most suitable prospect from the list. Ability to identify the people who can duplicate. Ability to prepare a new BA to face rejection.
Okay. All right. Somebody who has not spoken yet? Not spoken yet? No? Okay. Yeah.
Skill to influence people and motivate, ability to build relationship with new BA, identify the most suitable prospects from the new BA.
Okay. All right. A few more. Few more. Have you spoken? No. Okay. Okay, Janaka.
Objection handling, ability to change negative mindset, FICO activity.
One more. Okay, yeah.
Collective education, collective objection handling, and
Identify the most suitable prospect. Okay. All right. So for most of you, it is, for many of you, you have written down identifying the most suitable prospect, doing the activities of invitation and prospecting, invitation, closing, and then I heard changing the mindset. All right. So how do we do this? How do we get better at this? So whatever you identify, right, the three main areas that you've identified, how do we get better at this? Practice. Okay. But how do you develop a skill? So practice is one thing, yes, I agree. What else? Observing others who are doing it in a good way. Yeah. What's that? Collecting knowledge. Yes. Yeah, agree. Identify the faults you are doing. Yeah, agree. Okay. Counseling with upline. So first of all, when you identify the areas where you have to become better, you are already giving your mind a very good focus. Alright, see, if you look at it, all these areas you have to get better at it. Okay? I don't think anybody is at 10 in any of these areas. But then if you start focusing on all this 10, 15, 20, whatever we have here, then you will lose focus. You understand? All of them are important in different ways. But what you need to do is identify one or two of them. Even if you identify one which is very important for you, and you start becoming better at it from today onwards, you can easily become better at any of these skills in 1 to 2 weeks. It won't take more than that. Okay, really get better at it. Not the best, but much better than where you are today in 1 or 2 weeks with a focused effort. Okay? So, the first step is identifying those areas where it matters for you, the area where it is important for you. So whatever you have identified, I believe is what is important for you. So now the next thing is, how do you get better at it? So you got to practice. Yes, that's common sense. You got the only way to get better in a skill is by practicing. But there is a way to practice also. There is a way, there is an approach to it. If you practice doing something the wrong way, then you get good at doing it in the wrong way. Right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just because you're practicing something 100 times doesn't make you good at it. Unless you are practicing it the right way. So if you practice something the wrong way 100 times, then you just become an expert in doing it the wrong way. So you got to know what is the right way of doing it. What is the most effective way of doing it? And that's where you have to learn. You have to observe other people. You can read books, watch videos, or observe from other successful people. Now when you learn anything, especially skills, it's important for you to learn from people who are doing it successfully. It's very important. In our business, what I have observed is everybody has advices. Everybody has advice. You ask somebody, oh, how do I do this? They'll give you an advice. Whether they're good at it or not good at it doesn't matter. Everybody has a advice. Yes or no? So we don't know whether that advice actually works or not. I have seen people giving advice which they themselves have not used. And that is very dangerous. Some people give advice without knowing, how dangerous their wrong advice is. So, it's important for you to seek knowledge from people who are already doing it successfully. Alright, so in your market there are many people like that. Almost all your uplines that I know are good at doing these activities. They have a pretty decent, very good skills in all these areas what you have written down here. Alright? So, you have to learn how to do this from people who are already doing it the correct way. And the best thing is to observe them doing it. How do you know whether they are doing it the right way or not? By looking at their results. So when you observe them doing it in real life, that's one of the best ways of learning it. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So observe your uplines doing it, record it if you want, record it on your phone, and practice it a few times. Any of these activities, for you to get good at it, if you practice it 10 times, 15 times, you're already good at it. Because there is nothing here about doing a 2-hour training or doing there's nothing complicated here. It's all short activities. The conversations that is involved in all this is usually 10-15 minute conversations. You understand? It's not a 2-hour conversation. I mean, maybe the presentation is, but most of the other things are short conversations. And the best thing to do is learn word by word the conversation your uplines are having in those situations. So if you want to become very good at invitation, for example, okay? Observe how people who are really good at invitation are doing the invitations. Okay? Observe. Record if you want. How long does an invitation last? How long? How long does an invitation last? Yeah, 2-3 minutes, that's all. Is there anybody sitting here who cannot learn a 2 or 3 minute conversation? Is there anybody sitting here who cannot learn? You understand my question? All of us can learn a 2-3 minute conversation. It's just common sense conversation. There's no rocket science in it. It is not a Newtonian equation. Just normal conversation. So if you record the conversation, the invitation talk, somebody in your upline is doing in a very good way. Okay? You have to feel that it is a very effective invitation. You have to feel it. Record it. Learn it. Practice it. How many times? 10, 15 times. You're already good at it. Finish. You're not the best at it, but you are very good at it. Because you're already learning the effective method. See, if you're not learning the effective method, then this doesn't work. Then you can practice 200 times also. It might not give you the results. Do you understand what I'm saying? Learning, acquiring the right information is the starting point of learning the skills. Because if you're starting off with not the effective knowledge, then what you're learning is not effective, what you're practicing is not effective, and then eventually what you're doing is also not effective. So how do you know if something is effective or not? How do you know? The results, and you will also feel, right? If you hear somebody doing an invitation, you would feel if that is, that's pretty nice. I can do that. That's effective. Because you're not new BA sitting here. You're all people with some level of experience. So you already have experienced what is good, what is not good, what objections come up during invitation. Yes or no? Right, so you have to identify in your upline all the areas that you have written down. You've written down 3 areas, right? That you want to become good at. Think of 2-3 names of people in your uplines who are good in that area and write their names down. Only for those 3 areas that you want to get good at. You understand what I'm saying? Any confusion? So you identified 3 areas, yes or no? Against each of those areas, write down 2 or 3 names of your uplines who are already good at that. In your opinion, they might not be the best, they might not be perfect, but they are good enough. They are doing it in a good way. Okay? So for each of those 3, I want you to write that down. Done? Okay. So the next thing for you to do is, I want you to, so whatever that activity is that you want to get good at, okay, whether it is invitation, whether it is identifying the right prospects or whatever that you want to get good at, I want you to record when this upline of yours is actually performing it, not training you on that. You understand? When they are actually performing that activity. Don't record the training. It's not very useful. Okay? So, if you want to learn how to identify the most suitable prospects from the list of a new area. Some of you have written that down, right? Okay. Now you have also identified the names of some of your uplines who are doing it in the right way, at least better than you. Okay, they might not be the best or perfect, but they're better than you on that. So, next time, today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I want you to talk to them and find out when they are going to do that. Okay? And whenever they are going to do, be there and record it. You don't need video recording, audio is enough. Record it. Alright? Now, that might be how many minutes long, roughly? How long might that be? The process of identifying the most suitable prospect from the list of NDA, how long do you think that discussion might be? 20 minutes, maybe, right? That's it. Sometimes 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes, that's all. It's not a one-day discussion. So, you recorded a 20-minute discussion. Okay? You listen to this many times. And you practice it. 10, 15 times you practice it. So now would you get better at it? Yes or no? That's the way you get better at something. But you start off with people who are already good at it. That is the most important thing. For most of us, the mistake what we do is, we get an idea of how to do it, right? We have a vague idea of how to do it. We attend training, people teach us how to do it, and we form a vague idea. And then we start doing it ourselves. We're not modeling it from people who are already doing it in a good way. Modeling is a very powerful learning method. Okay? And our brain works very well when we model it. See, when you read it from somewhere, you attend a training, and then you imagine how to do it, and then you start doing it, you lose a lot of information. First of all, you're listening or reading, and then you form your own idea of how to say. Then you start saying, you lose a lot of information. But when you copy somebody, you model somebody, it's very effective. You understand? Because that's how our brain works. Our brain has something called as mirror neurons. Alright? So, when we see somebody doing something, even though we don't understand much, we are able to replicate what they're doing. See, it's like, you've seen parents or mothers feeding small children, kids who cannot even talk, like toddlers, babies, 6-month-old, 8-month-old babies. So you take the food in a spoon and take it to the baby's mouth. The baby doesn't understand. You say, open your mouth. The baby doesn't understand. What do? You open your mouth, isn't it? Yes or no? You say, and then what does the baby do? Does the same thing without even understanding what it is. Right? So first you make the noise, then the baby looks at you. Because if you don't make the noise, then the baby is looking somewhere. So then the baby looks at you, and then the baby sees you opening the mouth. The baby also opens the mouth, and you put the spoon in, finish. Right? So that's how we learn. Right? We model very effectively. Even if we don't understand, we can model very effectively. So if you want to get better in any of these skills, model after people who are already doing it in a good way. That will save you a lot of time. That will save you months and months of trying to learn it. And like I said, all these things are just short conversations. They are not 1 day, 2 day, 3 day conversations. Some of them are 2-3 minute conversations. Some of them are 10-minute conversations. Some of them are 20-minute conversations. Maybe there might be 1 or 2 situations where it is a 30-minute conversation. Record it. Listen to it 100 times. Practice it 10-20 times. You will already get very good at it. How long does it take to do that? 1 week, 2 weeks, that's it. It is not going to take 1 year. You can become good at any of these things what you have written down in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Alright? So what should you do? What is the first step?
Right.
What is the first step?
Identify the area and the upline.
Identify the area, next identify the upline who are doing this better than you in an effective way.
And check where
Yes.
it's going to apply.
See them in action doing it. Okay? That's very important. Don't sit with them and say, please tell me how to do it. Then they will tell you how to do it. But our brain, your brain is not very good in taking that information and then processing it and then imagining how to do it. And then you doing it. You lose a lot of information that way. Alright? So, just find out when they are actually going to do it. And be there and record it. And then, keep it in your phone. And then play solitaire.
Apply it perfectly.
You listen to it many times. Not one time, not 2 times, not 10 times, but maybe, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 times, maybe more than that. And then practice it. And then you get good at it. Alright? Okay. So, what are some of the most common objections of new BAs? I'm not talking about prospects. I'm talking about new BAs. So what are some of the most common objections or negativities you hear from them the first 1 month? So cannot find 2 people. Well, don't have the time. Well, cannot find people. I'm not talking about prospects, okay? I'm talking about new BAs who are already in the business. So what are the most common objections you hear from them the first few weeks? There are a lot of failed people in the business. How do they know? They talk. They talk to failed people. They talk generally outside, and then somebody says, "Oh, I tried this business 2 years ago. I lost money," like that.
Negativity from family members.
Negativity from family members. Okay. Yeah, so they get demotivated when they face rejection. Yes. Now, what do they say? When I say the objections, it's something they say, they tell you. So what do you hear from them? So like what she said, there are a lot of failed people in this business.
They have time.
I don't have time. Okay. I will do this later. Okay. New BA? Yeah, that's what happened. But what do they tell you? Okay, in Sri Lanka, this business will not work. Alright? So you hear them talking about that this business will not work. Okay? You hear that from new BA? Or this business will not work. Okay, what else? And then you said there are many people who have failed in this business. Then what do you say? I'll do this later. Not much. I don't have time right now. I'm busy right now. I'll do it later. I'll do it after 1 month. I'll do it after 3 months. I cannot push the people. Yes, I cannot push the people. Okay. I am not the suitable person. Okay, I am not the suitable person. I cannot attend training. Alright. I have guilty feeling when I invite people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. My prospects don't have money. So that's the UBA, not the prospect. UBA. This is brainwashing. Yeah, do people actually make money here? Okay.
I don't have suitable people in my list.
I don't have suitable people in my list.
This will affect my reputation.
Huh?
This will affect my reputation.
This will spoil my reputation.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So now I want to introduce you to an idea which is called as objection blocking. right? As opposed to objection handling. Now, most of the times what we do is something called as objection handling. So objection happens and you try handling it. Alright? Which is okay. Which is not bad. But even better, you want to say something? It is cheating. Yeah. Okay. So, objection blocking is that you prevent these objections from happening. Right? You handle it even before this actually comes up. Now, when you know that these are some of the most common objections that will happen in a new BA's mind in the first few weeks, then we can do things that can prevent this from happening. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
See, it is like when you do a presentation, you know some of the common objections that will happen, right? There will be an objection, there will be, whatever the common objections are. The people who do very good presentation, what they do is in their presentation they handle these objections. Even before the prospect brings this up. Alright, that's what good effective people do. In their presentation they handle it. So now you know for sure that a lot of these objections from new BA will happen. Right? That is going to happen. So how do we address this right from the beginning? How do we do it?
At the presentation.
By talking, yeah. What?
Starting presentation. You can handle some of it.
No, I'm talking about objections by BAs. So presentation, you're handling some objections. That's fine, and they sign up. Now they start talking to their prospects. That's when all this happens, right? All this happens only when they start talking to their prospects. And then, they hear all these negativities in different degrees. Sometimes from their very close people, sometimes from other people and all that. And then they have these objections coming up that this is cheating, this is brainwashing, this is nobody makes money, it is whatever. I don't want to do it now, I'm not a suitable person, I cannot force people, all that stuff comes up. So how do we handle this? Yes.
We can inform our BA. We can inform and educate our BA this kind of rejections or this kind of negativities or this kind of thing can come from your prospect, and how we should react and how I react to those kind of things. Likewise, we can educate them before we are doing starting the presentation of the BA.
Okay. So, in short, what you're saying is we have to prepare the new BA to face these things, right? So that is the approach, right? Now, what is the most effective way of preparing a new BA? What is the most effective way of preparing a new BA against these objections? Huh?
Handling in front of him that objections.
After the sign up? Okay.
Explaining about the negativity part of it.
Yeah, I agree. But
By testimony,
Huh?
by your own testimony.
okay.
Given the knowledge. Convince them to participate in the trainings.
What is the first part you said?
Convince them to participate in training programs.
Convince them to come for the training programs. Okay.
Spending focusing, creating dialogues with new VA, focusing the main objections which
Okay.
are available in the market.
Right. And then somebody was saying something?
Spending most of time thinking and also meet the successful clients and talk with negativity, what is the situation, and how to face that negativity. So like that, we have to meet always new VA after sign up. That's most of time, and we know it's a rejection will come, and that rejection we have to ready to face, how to handle, and then we need to meet our successful clients. It's like that. So it's mindset. It's a very important mindset, and mindset in my experience and others' experience and videos and a lot of motivation clips we can show.
Okay.
Then I think something he will change the mind.
And we sit and pray.
Yes.
Alright, so in short, what we are trying to do is influence the mindset of the new VA, correct?
Yes.
That's what you're trying to do. Make it more positive, make them ready to face these objections with the right mindset and all that. So, in essence, what you're trying to do here is improve your ability to influence and motivate and something else. What you're written down something.
Change mindset.
Yeah. So basically, your ability to change the mindset, all right, of the person to influence that person, right? This is what you're trying to do. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, like I told you earlier, your approach, your method of how you are doing it is also a very important aspect when it comes to getting the result. Right? How you're doing it is very, very important. Like people who don't do it the right way or not effective way, they will say that, yeah, but I told this new VA many times that this will happen, but still, I don't know why they're not listening. That is an example of ineffective method of trying to achieve that result. The person wants to achieve that result, so they have tried it, but that method was not effective. Right? You understand that? Okay. So I want to help you understand what effective methods are there to make this mindset change happen. Now, most of us, what we try and do is depend on trainings to make this happen. Right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Welcome training, this training, that training, and all that. And trainings are not very effective for that. It helps little bit. It's better than not doing anything, but not very effective. Why?
It's only teaching.
It is teaching. It is like, we spoke here a few things, especially the limiting beliefs. I spoke, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then most of you did not understand. Then I had to have a discussion, a conversation with you to help you understand that. And I did that with 2, 3, 4 people. Yes or no? Yes. So, when we do a training, it gives a little bit of an idea of what it is to the people who are listening to it. That's all it does. It does not make the learning really go deep inside. It gives you an idea. It's just an exposure of knowledge. Oh, there is something called as limited belief. Okay, these are some of my limiting beliefs. Good. Okay, that's about it. But if you want to go any more deeper, then we need to have a conversation. Now I cannot stand here and have conversation with all 120 or 30 of you, then we'll be here for next 1 week. So, this form of training, I know it has its limitations. It has its limitations. It is not going to go deep into everyone, but it is time saving. Alright? So, it will help you get some exposure to these ideas that we're talking about here. Some of you will be very good at it. Majority of you will not be very good at it. All of you will get some idea about it. Some of you will like this idea and say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then sit with your upline and explore that even more. Some of the uplines will take this idea and then sit with their team and say, oh, that makes sense. We have to become very good at activation. So how do we do it? And then you go into a totally deeper level of learning and understanding that just with your team. So this is what usually happens after a training like this. But majority of the people, it is intellectual entertainment. You understand intellectual entertainment? You sit here for 1 day, heard a lot of impressive things. Oh, neurofinance. So you just, okay. You feel happy, I learned a few things. Wrote on a piece of paper, and say, you feel good and you go back and finish. Which is what majority of people do, and I know that. Alright? But we don't have time to do this conversation with 120 people one-on-one. It's not going to happen. So what we are doing is hoping that there are some people here, some upline, some people who understand, who take the ownership and drive this down deeper. And maybe some of your uplines, the ADPs and VCs will help some of you to understand this even more better and follow up with you and maybe drive it down deeper. Okay? But that's what happens in a training. So when you do a training with new BAs, it will help them to some extent, but it is not going to change their mindset. Maybe gives them an idea that, oh, there are some people who will say that this business doesn't work, okay, there are different opinions like this and all that stuff. But it does not equip them, does not change their mindset in a deeper way. Does not. You understand that?
Yes.
So what do we do?
Should do by practical with them.
So the only thing that works is that conversations. Alright? So we got to find time with these new BAs to have more casual conversations. Casual conversations where we discuss these things in more effective ways. Okay? So, let us say, you can still bring them for training. I'm not saying don't bring them for training. That is not what I'm saying. Okay? I don't want you to understand this the wrong way. And then you say, then after this, you tell your uplines, no, Arun said training is useless. So I don't want to take anybody to training. That is not what I'm saying. Trainings are very important, but it has its limitations. So you bring the new BA to training, come for training, it is good. It gives you a common ground to talk now. Alright? So somebody has done the majority of the work from the stage, they said about all these things. So they have put some common ground. Now you can have conversations. Invite, go sit somewhere, have coffee and talk. Right? And understand what to say to prevent these objections from happening. You need to know what to talk also. Don't just go sit there and have coffee and then talk useless nonsense for 2 hours and then nothing happens. So you need to know what to talk, what kind of conversations to have. And that should be conversations. It cannot be you doing another training one-on-one. That also doesn't help. It should be conversations. Alright? Then they will talk about their objections, like when I asked you about your limiting beliefs, and you started talking about it. So you will hear from them as to what their belief is. Do you understand? You understand? You don't understand? You understand? No? Okay. So, let us say you are my new BA, okay? So we come in, we do this training for new BAs, your welcome training and all that. After that, maybe I meet you, maybe same day, maybe next day, whatever. All the other activities are still happening, your meeting one and all that is still happening. This is different. Okay, because changing mindset happens only on this one-on-one conversations. That's the most effective ways of influencing somebody's mindset. Alright? It's not in training, you cannot lecture somebody to change their mindset. It doesn't work. Alright? So you need to get into this conversations with people. So after that, let us say I'm meeting with you and sitting down and just talking, having conversations, just talk about what do you think about the business? How do you feel? You came for the training the other day, you heard about these things and all that. So I just want to know, how do you feel? What do you think about it? And all that stuff. So you start talking. Right? Yeah, I think it is good. Maybe I can make some money. I like what that guy was talking about. I heard that guy's story, it was inspiring and all that stuff. So then I say, okay, yeah, that's very good. I'm very happy to know that you like and all that stuff, right? But, let me also say a few things like, let us assume that you are talking to a friend of yours, okay? And this friend says, oh, this is all kind of scam business and all that stuff. It's possible. How would you feel? Right? So, what would you say? You're a new being. And you're just having this. This has not happened yet. Okay, nobody has told you this yet. I'm just preparing your mindset. Alright? So what would you say? You don't know because you never had this conversation with anyone. What would you say? Forget about new being. What would you say? If I am sitting and then talking to you and say, okay, what if you talk to one of your friends or your relatives and all that stuff, and they suddenly start saying, oh, this business, all these things, it doesn't work. How would you feel? Huh? You feel upset, okay? So, that's great, that's fine, that's good to know. But yeah, why would you feel upset? What makes you upset in that whole thing? Is it that the person did not accept what you're saying? Or would you start having doubts on the business? No, I'm asking, I'm having this conversation with you right now.
Have doubts.
I'm having this conversation with you right now. Forget about the new BA. You are the new BA. Ah. Okay. Okay. Very good. And I'm very happy you said that. See, now this is what happens when you sit down one-on-one and have this conversation. Alright? So, sometimes the person will say that, sometimes the person might not say that. Yeah, sometimes the person might just say, oh, I will feel upset. Then I will ask questions like, why would you feel upset about it? Is it because the person did not accept what you said, or is it because now you start doubting the business? Then I will have to ask questions like that for you to say this. Alright? So then you would say, maybe I might have, like you said, I don't know whether this business works or not. Maybe I start doubting the business or whatever. Alright? So then I can go into the discussion of preparing your mindset. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Clear.
Yes, no, what? Yes. Two people saying yes, I don't know about other people. If you don't understand, then I want you to say you don't understand. Okay, so what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here?
Preparing mindset.
We are learning this part, how to influence people and how to change the mindset. I don't know where that is. Here. Ability to change the negative mindset. Okay? That's what we're discussing right now. What is your method of doing this right now? Your method? Bring them to training. Correct? So that's fine. That is the first step. And that is very important step, but that's just the first step. That is what I'm saying. It is not the only step, or that is not the most effective step. That is the first step, and that is a very important step. But don't just bring people to the training and hope that their mindset is now completely changed. That will not happen. You are sitting in a training here, right? You're sitting in a training. You are not new BAs, right? Are you new BAs? No. Okay. Most of you have been in the business for maybe 1 year, maybe more than that. Now, I spoke a lot of things. How much did you understand? Maybe half, maybe less than half. Right? It's not because you are stupid or I am stupid. There's nothing to do with it. This is how this training works. It doesn't matter how much smart I am or you are, there is always a loss of information in this way of training. Because you are sitting there and this is long hours, and then suddenly you think about, oh my God, was it this week or next week I have to take my daughter to the hospital? And then suddenly for 2 minutes you don't even listen to what was happening here. Right? It happens. And then you sit and then you suddenly, what is this guy talking about? Beliefs. Should I believe like that or should I not believe like that? I don't know what he's talking about now. So maybe you wake up suddenly, and then catch in the middle, and then you don't know, then you still write notes and all that, pretending that you understand. And then for 30 minutes you pay attention. And then suddenly you remember, oh, did that happen? Or did the wedding I got invited to, I don't know whether I have the clothes for that, I have to buy clothes. And then you lose focus. Right? Does that happen or no? Happen. 100%. With everyone. I sit in Tato Sri's training and that happens to me. So it's just that's how we are. You're not machines. Alright? So we think about many things that happen. And that's natural. So if it happens with you who are serious in the business, who are willing to pay a higher price than a new BA, and you are here because you want to max out and you want to do this, how much more will it happen to a new BA? Much, much more. So don't think that just because all the right things were said from the stage that they have understood everything. Nothing. They have understood maybe 10%. So, but that is an important step. It's just because they didn't understand much doesn't mean that you should not bring them there. That is a very important first step. And you got to bring them again for different trainings. Every training, even if they get 10%, still better. Right? Still better than not getting anything. They see a lot of people, they see the person, there are some things they will get. But for you to think that they got everything, that is stupidity. They might have got 10 or 20%. Now you can just sit and hope and pray they got the right 10%. But they just get 10, 20%, that's it. So what would you do? You have to get into this discussions, the one-on-one talks with them, which is very important. And you cannot only meet them for doing the basic activities. If you meet your new BA only for doing presentations and closings and meeting ones, that's not helpful in changing the mindset. It helps you doing the activities, but if you want to change the mindset, that only happens in those conversations. Whether it is with new BA or with old leaders. If I want to help any of your upline leaders to change their mindset, the only most effective way is sitting with them and talking about that point. So then they will give other arguments, this point, that point, and all that stuff. And then in that conversation, we are able to achieve a change in mindset. But it never happens in a training to a big level. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, you want to observe your uplines doing those conversations with new BAs. Alright? Not the trainings. The one-on-one conversations. If it is not happening, then fix an appointment with upline and take a new BA, your new BA, and see what they're talking. Your uplines know what to talk. You know, your grand uplines, they know what to say, how to say, and all that stuff. You just sit and record, that's all you got to do. Alright? And then after you record, what do? Listen to it. How many times?
Many times.
50, 100 times, whatever. And then do it yourself. No, what I'm saying is actually something called as objection blocking. Okay, objection prevention, which is do your best even before it happens. Because if it happens and they're not prepared, then all the other problems what you mentioned happens. They don't pick up the phone, they give you excuses, I'm not ready, I don't want to come now, and all that stuff, because the issue happened and they didn't know how to think when that happened. The thing is, somebody said no, okay? Or somebody said this business is not good, or it's a scam, or I lost money, or whatever. So that is something that happened, which the new BA don't have an experience. So something new happened. Now when something new happens, if you don't know how to process that information in your head, then they will process it in whatever way it's natural for them. So the way natural for most people is, if you hear something negative about something, you also start thinking negative about it. Yes or no? That's how normally people process. If something good happens, you also start thinking good about it. If something bad happens, you start thinking bad about it. Because you don't know how to process that information. But if you know how to process that, because you've already been exposed to it, you have had some discussions with other people in the past, then when that happens, at least they have a different perspective of how to think in that situation. Then what happens is they will get affected. They don't feel happy that happened. Okay? But at least they will not stop communication with you. Damage is much less because that channel of communication is open, and then when you sit and you talk to them, then you understand that this thing happened. Then you can discuss again about it. But if they don't have that idea of how to process the residual information, then they will assume, oh my God, I've been cheated. Oh, I didn't know about this. So oh my God, that best friend of mine, she cheated me. So that is the first thought. Unfortunately, that comes into their mind. So if that is the thought that comes into their mind, how open will they be in talking to you after that? Not much. So when somebody is not comfortable talking to you, one of the common things they do is they ignore. They don't pick up the phone. Alright? So that's what it is. So we got to prevent that, we got to block that behavior from happening. Alright? So how do we influence the mindset? Through trainings and through your conversations. Alright, these conversations need not be too long, it's just short conversations. You can do that after the training. Let's say you bring them to the training, after that sit somewhere, 10-15 minutes, finish. It is not going to take too much time. It can be done over the phone sometimes. It can be done after meeting one. If they are coming for meeting one, after that, sit for 10-15 minutes, you can have that conversation. You can have that conversation. There are many occasions for that. Anytime you meet with them, either for training, meeting one, presentation, whatever it is. Alright, you can have that conversation. But you need to have very clear idea of what are some of those incidents that can make a new BA negative. Okay? So most common are people rejecting and other people talking negative. Correct? These are the most common ones. So prepare them. So when I say prepare, then the next question is, you should know what is the most effective way of preparing. Alright? A lot of uplines tell the new BAs that, there will be negativity, there will be, this, that and all that stuff. Don't worry about it. That's one way of preparing, but not effective. You understand? That is also preparing, but how effective is it? Not much effective. Just telling them that is not very effective. So, the point I'm trying to make to you is, you should learn the most effective way of handling it. You understand? How do you learn it? How do you learn the effective way? Observe. See other people doing it. That's it. Very simple. See other effective people handling it. What is more better than that? Just observe. And if you don't have that opportunity, bring a new BA and bring your upline and say, talk and record and find out. But don't go to your upline and say, please train me on how to do this. They will train you, you will understand half of it, then by the time you actually do it, it's only 5% of what was trained. It's easier for them also to actually show you how to do sometimes. Alright? So just observe. But you should observe the right people. Alright? Observe the right people. The people who are doing it effectively. Observe, record, duplicate. That method will reduce your learning time by almost 80%. If you were to, just learn and then write notes and then go and practice by yourself, you will lose a lot of information. And then slowly you have to correct yourself and learn and then do it again. It might take a few months. But just observing somebody who's doing it very well and just duplicating, mimicking it, just copying it, it will save time, your learning time by almost 80%. So when the company decides on giving you the commission, what do they look at? They only look at the sales on the left and right. Correct? Do they ask you, did you copy it from your upline? Or is this your original method? If you copy, then only commission is half. No, this is not school. You are encouraged to copy here. But the only thing is copy the right people. That is very, very important. Right? Copy the most effective people. And when I say most effective, that doesn't mean that they are the best. That's not. Nobody is the best. Alright? There's nobody who is the best. You can take prospects to anyone, and still there will be people who don't sign up. So there's nobody who is the perfect. But from whoever is available in your uplines, choose somebody who is very, very effective. And choose 2 or 3 people so that you have different ways and different methods also. Alright? What time is the coffee break? 30 minutes. Okay. Some of them look a little bit tired and sleepy and all that. How many of you are sleepy? No. You are sleepy, okay. Just stand up a little bit on the side. No, seriously, I'm not. When you feel sleepy, especially that happens when long training, that's okay, that's natural. You're not machine. So if then that happens, just move to the side, stand up, because very difficult to sleep standing. Isn't it? And then, no, that's what I do. You know, I also sit in trainings like you. Sometimes the trainings are from morning till night, 2 o'clock. I also feel like sleeping, so I then move, stand to the side, drink some water, and all that stuff. The only problem is I cannot wait till you sleep and wake up. We only have one day. Otherwise I would do that also. Alright? So, so all these skills, whichever skill it is that you want to get good at, the best way to learn a skill is from people who are already good at it, right? It's like if you want to learn how to play football, okay, skill. You want to learn from somebody who's good at it, right? You want to learn how to sing a song. You want to learn from people who are good at it. So the same way, this is a skill. Alright? So don't bother about all of these. You might say, oh, I want to learn all of this, then I will just start maxing out from tomorrow. Possible. But don't worry about it, that's not needed. Okay, you can compound your growth slowly. First pick up 1 or 2 things. Become good at it. The good thing about these skills is once you learn it, then it stays there forever. You don't forget these things. You don't forget how to do a presentation. You don't forget how to do an invitation and all that. You learn a method, you repeat it a few times, and you just learn it and it's there for you. Alright? You'll become good at 1 or 2 or 3, the most important ones you have right now. Okay, just focus only on that. Maybe in the next 1 month you will become good at it, then you can pick up another 1 or 2. And then become good at that after some time. Alright? But the way to learn any skill, the fastest and the most effective way to learn any skill is from people who are good at it. Alright? Have you tried learning how to swim by reading a book? You will drown. Most probably. But how do you learn how to swim? By copying somebody. They will show you what to do and you just repeat it. That's how you learn. That's how we learn most of our skills. Alright? So, do the same thing here. That's how our brain works. So use that method of how the brain works and learn it. Alright? Okay, so you're all sitting among your teams, is it? Yes. Upline, downline, all that? Alright. I want you to sit and have a small discussion on how you can master these skills that you have written down. Maybe you have your uplines here in this group, or if not, they might be sitting there behind. Alright, just grab them and find out when you can observe this in the next 1 or 2 days, when you can record these, and when you can actually observe and record. Alright, maybe your effective uplines are already in the circle, maybe they are at the back. Alright, wherever it is, I want you to schedule this recording of whatever your three main areas are. I want you to schedule this, and this should happen in the next within the next 2-3 days. Alright? Once you have it recorded, then you don't have to depend on anybody else's time. Then you just have to listen to it yourself and then practice it. You know, you can practice it with whoever you want. You can practice it with uplines, downlines, wherever. Okay? So, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want you to sit with your team, identify the people, and schedule this, when this can happen. Ideally in the next 2, 3, 4 days. Okay? And if somebody is doing, if some of your skills that you want to learn is the same, and then the upline is doing it one time, then better the 2 or 3 of you, whoever want to learn that, be there at that time. The upline doesn't have to do it 3 times. Alright? And maybe you are the upline, and then the people don't ask you when you are doing it, don't feel bad. You understand what I'm saying? If you are the upline, and then there are people sitting there, and then you're saying, oh, why is this guy not asking me how to show to him how to do this? If they're not asking you, then time for you to also get better at that. Okay?